Finding your calling is a lifelong process, but I'm here with Hank Bitten, who found his calling in teaching. Now a motivation to all his students, Mr. Bitten is here to tell us about his road to becoming such a positive role model. So, how did you know that this was the career for you?
Well, it actually happened, I'd say, in my junior year of high school. I don't think I've ever told too many people this, but actually in world history, in my freshman year, I failed it. Okay, well, I didn't fail it for the year, but I failed it for a marking period. In my junior and senior year, I had Mr. Ralph Ravo, and Mr. Ravo had a great sense of humor, and he was inspirational, and I just kind of knew that history was a love for me, and that's what I wanted to pursue. Kind of wherever I went, or whatever discussion group I organized or led, was like everybody said, wow, this is successful, this is good. So I kind of felt in high school that I wanted to be a teacher.
So how do you help to inspire the students here at Indian Hills?
Oh, I don't take credit for inspiring any students. I think that students inspire each other. So as a teacher, all I can do is kind of put maybe some forces into play. It's kind of like live comedy, being a teacher. If you can get the kids engaged in thinking, if you're able to motivate them and help them, but by and large, it's students see the expectations of others, and that encourages them.
You're an integral part of the International Studies in Business University program here. What is the program, and what exactly do you do for this program?
The idea behind it was to bring students together that have a interest or passion for history, business, current events, enjoy writing. They only need to have like an A in their social studies and English classes. They can have an overall B average. But what really has happened is it's more like a cohort, a group that stays together for 4 years, working on similar topics. So there's a number of levels of trust and confidence building. Students know the strengths and weaknesses. And again, it's always the discussions that they have, I think, outside of class that really make them feel they're doing something that's going to enable them to change the world, perhaps. A couple of years ago, we had a program with PBS, Channel 13, news on international health issues. So that's my job, is try to connect people with professionals. We do that with Standard & Poor's, with Alcoa, and Tiffany's, and these are the life-changing experiences for students because it raises their level of expectation.
How do you think this program helps to encourage students to pursue further education?
Well, it's interesting. It's all about motivation, and it just it amazes me the different careers that people have. Some have gone on to be psychologists. Some have gone on international law. Some have become economists, business majors. Majority of my students are doing things that don't pay a lot of money, but really have a big impact on how we look at the environment or how we help people with poverty. And of course, that's a great feeling for a teacher to know that kids are in pivotal places following their dreams. I think that when you encourage students to be successful, to reach their potential or go beyond their potential, participate in competitive activities, clubs, I think that as a teacher, you have to look at each student as an individual and say, well, how can I move them from point A to point B?
So what advice do you think that you would give to someone who's going to become a teacher, who wants to become a teacher?
I would say patience. It's particularly difficult to be a social studies teacher. So much of it has to do with differentiating learning, having a connecting point with students, helping students to understand the utility or value in what they are learning. And really it's about inquiry, helping students to investigate, pursue learning or knowledge at their own level. And sometimes you see students that are doing that in 1 year when you have them in your classroom, and like I said earlier, sometimes it's 3, 4, or even 10 years later that a student says in an email or a letter, Mr. Bitten, I remember what you taught. When I go to these class reunions and somebody remembers what I taught 25 or 30 years ago, it's like very humbling.